Carolina Panthers linebacker Luke Kuechly is getting ready for Super Bowl 50 on Sunday, a game he could have missed if his concussion had happened later in the season. He had to sit out for a month.
And the way the contact happened, it was poor tackling for him, and that's really what it comes down to is I need to have my head up, and if my head up's that issue doesn't happen. And I went down, I knew there was something wrong.
Kuechly's was one of 182 reported concussions this season, a 58% increase over last year. Despite the NFL's increased focus on concussions, some players don't want to think about it.
No, I don't think you ever want to be worried about getting an injury in football. You know, you're going to play differently than if you're ever worried about any kind of injury, ankle injury, finger injury, or head injury.
Others do not even want to talk about it.
I plead the fifth. I ain't talking about that one.
But player head injuries are constantly in the news. On Wednesday, doctors released the autopsy of former Oakland Raiders quarterback Ken Stabler, who died of cancer. Doctors say he had stage 3 CTE, a brain disease associated with repeated head trauma. With new safety rules, the NFL is trying to curb the problem. Protocols that were not in place when quarterback Troy Aikman played for the Dallas Cowboys. He suffered multiple concussions.
It sure seems to me like as far as the play on the field and the rules that have been implemented, it seems like the league has done just about as much as they can possibly do, short of just taking the pads off and saying that we're no longer playing contact football.
But an Associated Press survey of NFL players around the country found that many players feel more can be done.
One of the biggest findings we found was that less than half of them said yes when we said, do your teams have a player's best interest in mind when it comes to health? That was kind of a little bit of a damning number and a shocker.
Could concerns over concussions eventually lead to the demise of the sport? Adweek editorial director James Cooper says that isn't likely. He says there is too much at stake.
There is that controversy surrounding the concussions and the general violence of professional football. But if you think back a year to Super Bowl 49, the big issue was domestic violence. And people then thought maybe the ratings in the Super Bowl would decline or advertisers would drift away. In fact, the opposite happened. You know, it was the highest rated telecast in U.S. history.
A sport reaching a big milestone this year and counting on another 50 years. Ted Shaffrey, Associated Press, San Jose, California.